How do? Good afternoon all, welcome along. Today is Wednesday, the 28th of July 2028. This is our 4pm movement snack if you're looking for what time it is. This is our sway and stretch. This is where we move in three-dimensional movements. We switch our weight we switch our weight from side to side. We move in relaxing, flowing movements that get the weight moving around, so we get some balance shifting there. But it's a way for us to relax and unwind as well. So quite a nice end to the day, and then we finish up with some stretches. Hey up, Kels, how are me, my ducks? You alright? Hope things are good with you, or should I call you Hilda? Jack here. Alright, Hilda, you're right. It's Jack here from Coronation Street. That's the best Jack Duckworth impression I can do. Sorry, I should have got my flat cap out, shouldn't I? Hey, good afternoon to you, welcome along. It is our 4pm sway and stretch. We've got a bit of a sporting motif going on this week simply because the Olympics is on. So I watched you the gymnastics earlier on, thinking, how on earth do they do that? You know, watching the men's artistic gymnastics as it was with all the rings and the parallel bars and the pommel horse and all that. How on earth do they manage to swing themselves around and just stop in this position or standing in an upright position in a handstand when they're that high up in the air? Who knows? Remarkable people. Good to see we're doing quite well as well. Good afternoon to you, Mrs. P, in from Port Talbot. Hope things are good with you. Maddie Stranger, good afternoon to you. Hope things are good with you. Bit of a strange day here. It's blue sun, a little bit of cloud in the sky at the moment. 10 minutes ago it was bucketing down with rain. It's one of those days today, all over the place, a bit like myself normally. Welcome, one and all, welcome to our little get-together. Carol, good afternoon to you. We've had rain at last, and it's just started thundering. Oh, we had a good thunderstorm yesterday afternoon. I wasn't with you yesterday afternoon, Bex was with you. About the time I would have been with you, we had a lovely big rainstorm and a huge great thunderstorm. Oh, I love a good thunderstorm. Love a good thunderstorm. I like to see some lightning with it as well. There wasn't a great deal of lightning around yesterday, we couldn't see it, but lots of banging going on, lots of rumbling in the sky. Oh, love a good thunderstorm. Right, Ken, good afternoon to you. So far rain hasn't appeared where you are. Vivian, good afternoon to you and everyone. Thunder, lightning and torrential rain all afternoon. You've got what we had yesterday then. Although we couldn't see the lightning very well. It was a little bit overcast, so we couldn't see the lightning very well. But it was, as I say, I love a good thunderstorm, so that was good. How are we all doing? We all okay? Bright and breezy here at the moment. Raining and yucky earlier on. When I say earlier on, I mean about 10 minutes ago. I just closed the blinds to make it a little bit not so bright. And that's when it started to rain. So perhaps it was my fault. Not singing in the shower, closing the blinds. Who knows? Hey, Jane Andrews, good afternoon to you. Good to have you with us. Bex, good afternoon to you. How you doing? Hope things are good with you. Thank you for looking after everything yesterday, and you cottoned on to my Vangelis theme with the slow-mo and the do-do-do-do-do. I used it with somebody else actually yesterday, last night. At an online session I was doing around about 8 o'clock last night, and I just dropped the hint to say, think about Vangelis, and they all started going do 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 do. That's what it was for, you see. So we're keeping up that sporting theme as we go forward. Just have a cup of my Yorkshire tea, look. Always time for a good cup of tea, isn't there? Yeah, but you didn't sing. No, I'm not going to either, because then the rain will come back. So I'm just going to hum. Do, 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 do. Margaret Hamilton, good afternoon to you. Just finished a thunderstorm. All those big claps of thunder have disappeared. Right. We are at 4 o'clock, so should we get rid of the comments off the bottom of the screen? If you're on a tablet, if you're on a mobile, you swipe them and they are gone. If you're on your desktop or your laptop, you can keep them down in the bottom corner and just see things rolling through as you go on, yeah? Right, let's get ourselves going. Should we have a 3, 2, 1? Good afternoon, everybody. You're with Dave Montgomery from Later Life Training. Today is Wednesday, the 28th of July, 2021, and this is our 4pm movement snack. Opportunity number 3 to add additional movement minutes into your day. Should we get ourselves going? As always, we can do it in seated or we can do it in standing. Let's get up and go. Right, a few little housekeeping points. So let's make sure we've got plenty of space around us. There's nothing that we can fall over. Mad frantic tidy up a few minutes ago. The granddaughter's with us at the moment, so the floor has been cleared. Fixed external support, as always. I've got my fireplace, I've got my wall, I've got a sturdy chair, sensible footwear on my feet. And make sure you've got some sensible footwear on there. Remember, we work at our own range of motion. Whatever our range of motion is perfect. It's right for us. This is about us, isn't it? As individuals, we're all individual. That's what makes the world so interesting. Also, if you need to take a break, take a break. So if you want to have a little bit of a rest, have a little rest. Have a little pit stop, as we call it, yeah? If you want to have a look at the movement first and then decide how you want to do it, whether it's going to be in seated, in standing, or you're going to use support or not, that is your choice as well. So everything really is yours, yeah? I'm just here to facilitate. Right, so let's get ourselves ready to go, shall we? In our standing position, we've got our heels in line with our knees and our knees in line with our hips. We're lifted and lengthened to grow taller with the shoulders up, back and pressed down. Support available to us if we need it. In our seated position, the first thing we're going to do is bring our back off the chair to sit a little bit taller. Now we're doing the support, not the chair. It's that lift and shift as we hip walk into the front third of the chair, sitting ourselves here, the feet are flat on the floor. We've lifted and lengthened out from our hips, shoulders are up, back and pressed down, so we're sitting tall again. And from here, we can start with our circulation boosting. As always, it's about rhythmical, flowing movements that start to get the heart beating a little bit faster. Excuse me, start to get us breathing a little bit heavier. So we can start to get the circulation boosting happening within the body. Warming the muscles, warming the joints, getting the oxygen to where we want it. We make movements bigger rather than faster, and bigger movement for our heel raises is a march. Now in seated, we've already got those hip flexors working by sitting at 90 degrees, sitting up nice and tall. So the march is actually making them work a little bit harder. So if it's coming back down into a heel raise, that is what we do. We might also want to think about a toe tap in front, those sorts of movements. In our standing position, then you can see that we get the ability to try and start to point the toes down towards the floor as well. So we get a bit of extra movement down into our ankles. And we know throughout the day, ankles wise, it's important that we mobilise them first thing in the morning because they play such an important part in our stability. Therefore, with our moves of a lunchtime, a lot of the time, well, we may not necessarily focus directly into the ankle, but we're doing stuff that's going to help strengthen that ankle as well. And here in our afternoon, 4 p.m, that shift of weight from side to side helps as far as our flexibility now, our mobility again, as far as those ankles are concerned. And ankles, they play such an important part in stability. Right, let's pop an arm in as well. So driving the elbow backwards, and I think that is Super G who's just popped up on my screen. I can see the icon's just popped up, and it looks like the Super G. Yeah? Hopefully it is you, George. If not, then I'm sorry if I've called you Super G when you're not. Whoever it is who just joined us. Driving that elbow backwards, so the movement is happening from the shoulder. And what I mean by that is we're not just allowing the arm to swing. It's a driven, controlled movement. Now, place the hand down, bring the other hand in if you're using your support and it's in front. If you're not using support, you can just swap from side to side. If we're using support and it's to the side, however, we need to come to a complete stop. At that stop point, we take as many steps as we need to turn into our support with our hand still on there, and then away we go on the other side. So we've always got a hand in contact with the support. As I say, if we're standing and not using support, then we could just change arms, hand in seated, we could do the same. And then, if we feel ready, stable, coordinated, we can take it into both arms, both legs at the same time. But you'll notice that the moves haven't got faster, they've just got bigger in that we've added more in. And by adding that both arms in, we've now got lots of the body moving, and that's what's given us that boost in circulation. Keeping the tall position, whether we're in seated or standing, we're looking at about a couple of minutes, possibly 3 at the most, and then we'll bring it down a little bit, make it a little bit smaller, bring it to a pause, and at that point we should feel as though we want to take a couple of deep breaths. Brilliant. Okay. So let's remind ourselves where we were. We had our feet into a staggered position, one foot staggered in front of the other. Can you see how they're separated a little bit, but they're still facing forward? And there was that shift of weight onto the front leg, shift of weight onto the back leg. Yeah? Driving the weight forward and backwards. The feet are both staying in contact with the floor the whole time, look. It's just the weight that's being distributed and the upper body is staying nice and tall. In seated, then exactly the same. We've got that staggered and we've got this little hinge at the hip to bring that weight forward and back. Keeping the feet pressed firmly down on the floor so we can feel the engagement through there. And as we hinge forward, we feel a little bit more weight coming down through that front leg. That was our feet. We'd added in the arms. So in this position, even without the feet, we've got the arm movement here, look. Driving forward and backwards. So it's a bit like our arm swing in our march, but a controlled movement. And can you see how you start to get a little bit of movement into that trunk as well, driving it through. And then to put both parts together, we've got that switch of movement forward and backwards, shifting the weight as we drive the arm forward. And then as we're going back on the other leg, the other knee is starting to come forward a little bit as well, isn't it? So it's always on that forward motion of the knee that the hand is going forward. And yesterday we added the breakthrough of the tape into that as well. So we've now got this movement here with the drive forward and drive back. Perhaps we'll do 3 sets of these. So last time, and then on this one, we bring the arms out, and we come forward and open up across that chest, bring it back into reset, and then back away again we go. So that's where we were yesterday. Seated, exactly the same. We've got that position there with that shift of weight forward and that arm movement. Driving through. Our last set of this, and then this time we come forward and we open the arms and open the chest to get that chest breaking through that finished tape to finish off there. So that's where we ended yesterday. Let's add into that again. So we're here, we've got this position here where we've got our feet staggered, we've got the hinge at the hip to bring ourselves forward if we're in seated, and we're leaning forward as far as our standing position is to have broken through that tape. Arms are out to the side, chest is lifted. Arm height is what is right for you. From there, we bring the hands back in and step back in, and then we take the hands out and around, yeah? Out and around. And can you see the movement here? We've got the hands up towards at the front, and then we're scooping them around. Now what you can do is then bring it so they start to come together there, so you can scoop it around. So as you're bringing it in, look, we're putting that movement around into those wrists. And it's exactly the same in our seated position. Now if we're doing this in standing and we're having the support by the side of us, remember, one arm at a time. So we're going to have that movement there, 3 of those, and then we break through, we'd step back in, and here is that movement taking it out and around. So we've got this placement of the hand, this rotation through the shoulder, through the wrist. Okay? Now we can add some legs into that as well. So as we're here, rather than stepping back into hips width, let's take it a little bit wider. So we're here, just outside of our hips, probably about very much just into the shoulders, but not right out as far as the ends of our shoulders, because they're probably more in line with our armpits. And then from there, we can put a little bend of the knees and a raise. So a little bob down and a little raise, yeah? And it literally is a small movement. We're not squatting. We've just got that little movement in the knees to get that slight bend. And in our seated position, what we can do is we step back in and take it a little bit wider. We lift onto our toes and we lower down. So we're here. We've opened up. We bring it back in and step that a little bit wider to take the hands out and around. Out and around, yeah? So in standing position, it looks like this. We've stepped from here We've brought it back in a little bit wider. We've got that little bend of the knee and the hands coming in and around, again in a controlled motion. So we've taken it from our sprint with the finish, stepping back in to dive into the pool and take it to a breaststroke type position. But it's all about the rotation within those wrists and through those shoulder joints. And again, remember, the height of this is what is right for you. So let's just put all three parts together for where we are today. Okay, so from here we've got our step position to start off with, staggered stance. We've got that drive through motion and 3 sets of these, yeah? And here comes our third set. As we step back in, we bring the hands forward and we open up, stepping back in to take it a little bit wider with a little bend of the knees, and the hands come around and out. And again, let's do 3 of these before we finish. And there we go. One more time, perhaps, so we can have a look at it in seated and make sure we're comfortable in seated. Okay, so again, staggered start to start off with. That run through position here with that little hinge at the hip as we drive the arm forward and back. One more set. And this time we drive the hands forward and out, lifting that chest, stepping back in and wider to bring the hands up and around. In and around. And one more time. Holding it there, and that is where we will leave it for today. Track to pull. Right, let's start with our stretches. So let's have a look at our calf stretch to start off with, and we'll have a look in seated firstly. Extending the leg away, heel down, toes pointing upwards. We're sitting tall, and we're going to bring the toes in towards the shin as we extend the heel out a little bit more. And feel that lengthening down through the back of your leg, through your calf. Around 12 to 20 seconds is what you're looking for. Now in standing position, it's a step back, toe down, heel down, toes pointing in the same direction. We bend the front knee and allow ourselves to lean into it. So we're not staying upright, we're just allowing the body to lean, and there we get that stretch into our calf at the back. Feel that lengthening down through the calf. Again, holding it for around 12 to 20 seconds. We come back in by bending the knee back up and stepping back in from there. And in seated, releasing those toes a little bit, bringing the foot back in and then changing to the side. Now in standing, if you're using your support, just turn into it to change to the side, and then away you can go on the other side. So again, you've got that foot back, heel down, allowing the knee to bend at the front and coming in. See how the knee comes no further forward than the shoelaces though. In seated, once more, we take the leg out, heel down, toes up, and it's a ease of the heel away as the toes come in towards your shin. Keeping this knee slightly soft so we get that lengthening down through the back of the calf. Sitting tall, deep breaths in and out. And then after your 12 to 20 seconds, release it out, bring the foot back in. You might just want to have a little pedal of your feet there just to release out through those. Let's have a look at the back of the thigh. So here, we take the foot out again in seated, heel down, but relax the toes down towards the floor this time. Now, we're sitting tall, as we should be anyway, but we're going to lift that a little bit taller. And placing our hands on the bent knee, it's a hinge at our hip. We're not bending at the waist, we're not bending at the chest, lower chest level. We're trying to keep that back nice and straight and just hinging from our hip to feel that stretch in the back of our thigh. If you can feel it in your calf still, relax those toes a little bit more. In standing, then again with your support by the side of you, you might want to bring your hands forward a little bit. We're going to step forward with the leg that's closest, furthest away from our support. The one that's closest stays where it is. We've got that tall stance again, but once more, lift that a little bit taller and then hinge. Now that little lift, whether it's in seated or standing, starts the stretch. So as we come into it, we don't need to hinge as far forward. And if we start to feel that easing off, take a breath in. And as you breathe out, take it a little bit further in seated. hinge a little bit more, and standing, push that bottom away a little bit further and just feel that stretch coming back into the back of the thigh. From there, release out after your 12 to 20 seconds, step back in, feel the stretch ending. Again, change it to the other side. Now, standing, if you're doing this without support, then it's exactly the same motion. Look, stepping forward, lifting that a little bit taller and hinging. What do we do with our hands? Well, we can either just leave them here, or we can put them onto this back leg or onto our hips, but we just want to avoid putting them onto this front leg because we're going to put pressure down to our knee. And once again, if we feel it easing off, breathe in, breathe out, and take it that little bit further just to feel that stretch coming back in. Shoelaces, socks, all those sorts of things. Flexibility is really important to us. If we can keep the flexibility in the back of our thigh, we can reach down and do stuff quite a little bit easier than if not. Unhinge, step back in, feel the stretch ending. Again, you might want to have a little pedal through it with those feet. Let's go into the chest. So hands into the small of the back, either palms in or palms out, you choose. And have a look at the top of the body first, and then I'll show you the seated. What we do is we start to draw the shoulders back, but then we lift the chest. So it's about lifting that chest rather than just drawing those shoulders back. In seated, then you can see that we've got exactly the same movement and exactly the same hand positions with the addition of one. So we can either put the hands here, or if that feels uncomfortable, put them on the side of the chair behind your bottom. And again, little draw of the shoulders back, but a lift of that chest, keeping the eye line level, not looking back. Two reasons. One, if I look back like that, I can see a little spider on the roof and I'll go, ooh. But it's about keeping the neck in line, not putting any pressure onto that neck. Again, holding for around 12 to 20 seconds, we release out. Take it into, as it's affectionately known, a Bexy cuddle, okay? One hand on the shoulder, one hand into the armpit on the other side, and draw the shoulders forward a little bit. Give yourself a bit of a cuddle. A cwtch as it would be called in Wales, wouldn't it? And then release out and change it over to the other side. So you're just drawing the shoulders forward and you're lengthening across the top of the back. We spend so much time talking about bringing those shoulders back and together. And that's that muscle there between your shoulder blades that's having to shorten this and allows it to lengthen out a little bit. Bring it out, have a little roll of those shoulders. And there we are. That is our 4 p.m. movement snack. I'm going to finish it as I started with a sip of my tea. Right. Your mission now, should you choose it, is to leave this place. Go forth. Take your crowbar with you and crowbar in additional movements on top of everything else. Have a great evening. Have a great day tomorrow. I will be back with you on Friday at 4 p.m. Bexy's very kindly covering for me again tomorrow. I shall be at work, but I'll be thinking of you. I'll be thinking of you. I might even be doing a little bit of this and a little bit of this, and people getting strange looks from people. But I don't care. That's me, you know. Live life on the edge. Right, you have a great day, everybody, tomorrow. Have a great evening. Keep mobility, keep movement, keep activity on your radar, and keep crowbarring away. See you real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.